LoreWarrior Vehicles double feature. Warrior H-8 attack helicopter. Overview. In July 3048, Lockheed CBM Sandpiper research team proposed using recovered technology to enhance the performance and battlefield survivability of a number of vehicles, including the Warrior VTOL. The arrival of the clans put a temporary halt to this scheme as Lockheed turned all of its efforts toward providing parts for upgrading battlemechs. The Sandpiper division was scaled down, and most of its staff released. After the truce, Lockheed CBM resumed its research into vehicle upgrades and implemented Sandpiper's suggested refit of the Warrior and other vehicles. Capabilities. The most notable change to the Warrior was the inclusion of a Lockheed 70 fusion plant, which was considerably lighter than the old ICE engine. The weapon systems were similarly revamped. The designers replaced the Tharhees 4-pack missile launcher with a pair of Hovertech streak launchers, and the chin-mounted Sarlon autocannon with a Longfire 5 long-range missile system. The Hovertech system ensures that any short-range missiles fired by the Warrior will hit their target, while the Longfire LRM launcher provides a lightweight alternative to the old autocannon system. The addition of Kalon Unity Weave armor has boosted the craft's protection against incoming fire, though the fragile rotor remains a weak point in the design. Until the invasion of the Sana March, Lockheed had been receiving supplies of this armor composite from the Talon Vernka system in the Davian portion of the Federated Commonwealth. The breakdown of order in the Sana March and strained relations between the Lyran Alliance and the Federated Commonwealth have cast doubt on Lockheed's ability to obtain continued supplies of this composite. Unless an alternative source could be secured in the next few months, the next run of Warriors will use the less effective Lungenecker plasticsteel of the original design. Deployment. The new Warrior first saw action against a Clan Steel Viper raid on the world of New Exford in what was then a unified Federated Commonwealth. The Clan force swiftly outflanked New Exford's sole defending battlemech unit, leaving only vehicles and infantry between the clans and the granaries of the capital city of Woodborough. The flight of 6 Warrior H-8s attached to the vehicle unit made repeated passes against the attacking force of Omnimechs and Elementals, delaying the Steel Viper unit long enough for the battlemech unit to regroup and organize a counterattack. The defenders eventually drove the Vipers from the planet, but lost 5 of the 6 Warriors and a total of 60% of their vehicles. 3058 Upgrade. Overview. Since its debut in 2950, Warrior attack helicopters have become a familiar sight on the modern battlefield. However, in 3048, Lockheed CBM Sandpiper research team proposed updating the venerable design with recovered technology. Though the arrival of the clans temporarily halted this plan, Lockheed CBM began work on upgrading the Warrior after the 2-year truce. The most important change to the Warrior was the installation of a Lockheed 70 fusion plant. Lighter and requiring no petrol, the engine gave the new Warrior an edge over most VTOLs. Engineers replaced the original Tharhees 4-pack with chin-mounted Sarlon autocannons with 2 Streak 2 and an LRM-5 system, and to give the VTOL better protection and staying power, designers installed Kalon Unity Weave armor. Lockheed used armor shipments from Talon until the invasion of Sana forced Lockheed to use the far less effective Longenecker plasticsteel. After the Fedcom Civil War, Lockheed CBM signed a contract with Lexington Limited to supply the armor for the Warrior. Deployment. The new Warrior VTOL wasted no time improving its value. When the Steel Vipers raided New Exford, the Warrior was instrumental in pushing the clan force off-world, and during the Fedcom Civil War, many Warrior H-8s deployed for both sides of the Civil War, performing brilliantly and exceeding expectation of the designers. Today, the Lyran military, depleted and beleaguered as it is adding as many of these VTOLs as Lockheed can produce. The AFFS, FRR, periphery nations, and a host of mercenary commands have also placed their own orders for this vehicle, forcing the company to build another line to keep up with demand. Variants. Mobility and maneuverability on the battlefield can make the difference between victory and defeat. Always a proactive company, Lockheed tasked their Sandpiper research team to expand on the capabilities of the Warrior. The results amazed everyone involved. 2 new variants, the H9 and H10, are rolling off production lines into the depleted ranks of the Lyran military. The H9 replaces all missile systems with the new Thor rotary 40mm autocannon. The next variant, the H10, radically departs from the original. With the advent of battle armor technology, the need for mobility is necessary, and the H-10 is designed with this in mind. Armed only with 2 heavy machine guns, this variant has a 5-ton infantry bay, giving the Lyran Infantry Battle Armor Force a capability not seen before. Lockheed CBM still produces the H7 models, although only through special order, mostly from periphery states or planetary militias. The H8 is the new main variant produced by Lockheed. Notable crews: Hauptmann Hans Davidson. Davidson comes from a long line of VTOL pilots serving the Lyran military. Hans grew up on the world of Australia in the Coventry province, a relatively uninhabited planet populated by jungles, massive forests and desert. Helicopters are the choice for transportation on Australia, and Davidson earned his pilot's license by the time he was 12. At 18 he joined the military, subsequently signing up with the Federated Commonwealth Armed Forces, and after qualifying for his military wings, he served in the Coventry CPM, assigned to a Warrior H8. During the Jade Falcon's invasion of Coventry, Davidson's squadron deployed in support of a mixed combat battalion in a delaying action against the Falcons. To his credit, he killed 2 Omnimex and a point of Elementals. As Davidson's command, only he and 3 others survived to see Coventry relieved by Archon Prince Victor Steiner Davian's task force. Later, during the Fedcom Civil War, Lieutenant Davidson found himself fighting against loyalist forces of the Coventry Jaegers and Kristen's Crushers. Lieutenant Davidson's skill and courage enabled him to survive the bloodbath visited on the militia, and his Warrior H8 sustained tremendous damage during the defense of Coventry Military Academy and crashed, severely wounding him. He spent months in a POW hospital until Archon Prince Victor's coalition forces relieved Coventry. After a long recovery and rehabilitation, Davidson was promoted to Hauptmann and returned to duty as the pilot of a Warrior H9. Lieutenant Amanda Hall. Lieutenant Hall serves with the Wild Geese. She's a relative newcomer, having left the service of the AFFS after the conclusion of the Fedcom Civil War, and she acquired her scouting and flying skills while assigned to the 5th Crucis Lancers. After mustering out, she made her way to Outreach, where she ran into Captain Adriana Barnwell, an old friend that she grew up with, and a member of the Wild Geese. She fit the geese like a glove, and she now flies a Warrior H9 attached to Iron Horse Squadron. An oldie but a goldie, the Warrior H8 attack helicopters. Oh, how many of these players have probably shot down over the decades. But the H7, the H8, they're still very good. They're a nice, cheap, easy unit to use for a GM. It's a vehicle that masses in at 20 tons, obviously it's a VTOL, its power plant is a Lockheed 70 Microfusion with a cruise of 108 and a flank speed of 162 kph with its Calon Unity Weave armour. It has a single Longfire 5 LRM-5 and 2 Hovertech Streak 2 launchers, manufactured by Lockheed CBM Corporation, primary factory on Furio. Its communication system is a Xilex 2010, and its targeting and tracking is provided by N&D hands-free. I like the way that one rhymes. Pretty sure it's the same in the other one. Yep, in the later book. It's a vehicle that on the table moves at 10 and 15 respectively. It has 10 heat sinks because it doesn't need any more than that. It's got its LRM-5 and its streaks. It's got 24 rounds of LRM fire and 25 rounds per streak launcher, so it ain't going anywhere anytime soon. That said, it's probably also going to die long before it gets anywhere close to firing all of that ammo anyway, because it only has 15 armor on the front, 10 on the sides, 8 on the rear, and 2 on the turret. Which means it'll still die relatively quickly, especially in the time period that this thing was created for. You know, you're talking about a vehicle that can still be in range of things like streak launchers, LRMs being more capable with things like Artemis fire control, that kind of thing. Or just the fact that also a lot of weapon systems are better at this point. You've got things like Gauss rifles that can just one-shot through the armor and just tear the whole thing apart in one single hit, that kind of thing. So, you know, it's still a big risk, but I love the look of the Warrior. It's a fantastic looking helicopter in the universe. I do like the upgrades later on. The H9 is kind of smart. A rotary autocannon makes perfect sense as a weapon there for this type of attack helicopter. And the idea that later on that there's the H10, which is good for transporting battle armor units and the such to get them in and out of the field quickly or for rapid deployment. Yeah, cool idea. I like the writing there. There's a hilarious typo here in the upgrade of 3058 on the deployment where it says when the Steel Vipers raided New Exford, someone just used autocorrect because it's steel as in something that's been stolen. so apparently the thieving Vipers turned up to raid instead of, you know, like the metal. I thought that was quite fun. And you know what? I like the fact that they wrote something where these helicopters actually gave the clans a bit of hassle. Alright, yeah, they didn't win, they didn't drive them off the field, but they delayed them. that's cool, you know, because a lot of writing will just have it usually be like, oh, they put up a good fight, but they all got killed because clans are superior type thing. But yeah, this was, yeah, it was kind of cool. I like the fact that, you know, a little 20-ton vehicle like that, used correctly, can actually do something. Whoever wrote the one for Hans Davidson there was fucking all out. You know, they were writing a fucking novel of their own on that one with a notable crew. Christ. Someone said, like, we need to fill this much of the page. Leave it to me, Bob. I got this guy who's been rattling around in my brain for ages. Hans Davidson. Yes, there we go. It's an original character. So yeah, but yeah, I like it. Warrior H8, cool vehicle. And the model isn't really that different from the standard one, so whatever your Warriors normally are, they're just, oh, this is the H8 model. I don't need a new Mini. Anyway, have a good one. Thanks for listening, everyone. We'll see you next time. Bye-bye.